I am sitting in complete darkness in my home office at 2 in the morning. The soft blue glow from the baby monitor casts shadows across my desk. There is no baby. The monitor feeds video and audio from every room in this house. Upstairs, my wife Sarah sleeps soundly, or at least she believes I think she does. This comfortable suburban life I built feels like another world compared to the rooftop in Fallujah, where I once pressed my scope to my eye. I constructed everything on half-truths, never telling her what I really do. The irony cuts deep now. My training taught me to recognize deception in enemy operatives, yet I deliberately ignored every sign in my own marriage. Tonight that choice ends. What I heard through those speakers 90 minutes ago changed everything. Before we go further, I need to know where you are watching this from. Drop your city or country in the comments below. Hit that like button if you have ever felt betrayed by someone you trusted completely. Subscribe because what comes next involves 10 highly trained killers, my Georgetown home and tactical skills I have not used since Kandahar. Make sure you stay until the end because the lesson I learned might save your life someday. Now let me take you back 6 months to where this nightmare began. I met Sarah 4 years ago at a charity gala in Washington. I was there working undercover for an operation I still cannot discuss. She coordinated the event, moving through the crowd with effortless grace. Our connection felt immediate and genuine. After years living in shadows, jumping between war zones and safe houses, I craved something normal, something real. When she asked what I did, I told her I worked as a security consultant for government contractors. Technically accurate, massively understated. She seemed perfect for the life I wanted to build. She came from old money in Connecticut, attended the right schools, knew how to navigate the social circles that filled Washington. We married 18 months after that first conversation. I bought us the brownstone in Georgetown. She transformed it into something from a magazine spread. Our life looked ideal from the outside. Dinner parties with her country club friends. My supposed business trips that took me across 3 continents. She never pushed for details about my work. I told myself that meant she respected my privacy. Looking back, I realize it meant she never cared enough to ask. The first cracks appeared 6 months ago. Small things that my training forced me to notice, even when I wanted to ignore them. Sarah started going to the gym 5 days a week instead of 3. She bought expensive clothes I never saw her wear at home. Her phone stayed face down on every surface, protected by a password she changed monthly. Girls' nights became weekly events, with friends whose names I never heard before. She took phone calls in other rooms, her voice dropping to whispers when I entered. Every behavior screamed operational security. I spotted the same patterns in foreign agents I tracked overseas. But this was my wife, the woman who brought me coffee in bed and kissed my forehead before I left for the airport. I pushed down the instincts that kept me alive in hostile territory. I told myself I was being paranoid, that years of suspecting everyone had finally poisoned my ability to trust. One evening, I returned early from Prague. The mission wrapped faster than expected. I found Sarah at her laptop, startled when I walked through the door. She slammed it shut with genuine fear in her eyes before recovering with a bright smile. She explained she was researching anniversary trip surprises. I wanted desperately to believe her. That night, she seemed especially affectionate. She made my favorite dinner. We watched a movie on the couch like we did when we first married. She fell asleep against my shoulder, her breathing soft and steady. In that moment, I felt ashamed for doubting her. Maybe I was the problem. Maybe years of deception and violence had broken something fundamental in me. Maybe I saw threats where none existed. 3 months ago, everything escalated. Sarah began asking detailed questions about my security consulting work. Who were my clients? What type of security did I provide? Did I travel armed? What were my typical schedules? She had never shown interest before. Her sudden curiosity felt like intelligence gathering, professional and targeted. One weekend, I told her I had a 3-day trip to Atlanta. Instead, I checked into a hotel 10 minutes from our house. Months earlier, I had installed basic surveillance cameras, telling myself it was standard home security, old habits from my operational days. Now I accessed those feeds from my laptop, watching my own home like a target location. The first night a man arrived. Tall, expensive suit, confident movements. They sat in our living room talking intensely for 2 hours. No kissing, no inappropriate touching, but the intimacy in their body language told me everything. He left before midnight. Sarah went to bed alone. When I returned home as scheduled, she greeted me warmly, asking about my trip with perfect casual interest. I said nothing about what I had seen. Over the next week, I upgraded every surveillance system in the house. Professional-grade equipment, crystal-clear audio feeds, encrypted servers routing through locations I controlled. I installed the baby monitor as cover. We had discussed children recently. She suggested we should start trying soon. The cameras and microphones I hid would capture everything. I justified this violation by telling myself I needed proof. If I was wrong, I would confess everything and we would attend therapy. If I was right, I needed to understand the full scope of her deception. Every night I sat in this office, headphones on, listening to my wife live her secret life. I felt like a traitor to my marriage vows. But I could not stop. The operator in me needed intelligence before taking action. 2 weeks ago, Sarah claimed a headache and went to bed at 9. I stayed in my office, pretending to work on contractor reports. Actually, I monitored the audio feeds like I once monitored enemy communications in Mosul. At exactly midnight, her phone rang. She answered in a sleep-thick voice that sounded genuine. Then she said quietly, "Hold on, let me go to the bathroom." I heard her footsteps cross the bedroom. The bathroom door clicked shut. Water ran in the sink to create white noise. Her voice came through my headphones with perfect clarity. "Baby, this idiot does not suspect a thing." Those 7 words detonated in my chest like a fragmentation grenade. Every muscle locked. My breath stopped. But my training held. I remained absolutely silent, and still forcing myself to keep listening. She laughed softly, intimately. "I have been playing the loving wife perfectly. He actually thinks I am planning our anniversary trip." "Can you believe it?" A male voice responded, mid-30s, controlled and professional. "You are certain about the timeline?" "Absolutely," Sarah answered. "He has a major payment coming in 3 weeks. The insurance policy renews next month with the double indemnity clause for accidental death. The timing could not be better for us." The man asked another question. "And you confirmed he is unarmed at home," Sarah replied with confidence. "Always. He keeps everything locked at his office. Here he is, just a boring suburban husband, completely vulnerable." "Good," the man said. "I will send my team tomorrow night. We make it look like a robbery gone wrong. You will be at your sister's place in Baltimore. Perfect alibi." "How much do I owe your people?" Sarah asked, excitement creeping into her voice. 200,000 for my team. Cheap price when you are looking at 4 million in insurance money plus whatever other assets you inherit. Sarah actually giggled. "This will set me up perfectly. I can finally leave this suffocating life and be with you full-time, Marcus." They continued talking. I forced myself to absorb every detail. The team consisted of 10 men, all former military, well-trained and well-equipped. They would breach at 3 in the morning tomorrow, violent and fast, make it look like I fought back during a home invasion. Sarah would identify my body, play the devastated widow for the cameras, collect the insurance money within weeks. She and Marcus would wait a respectful period before going public with their relationship, maybe a year. They ended the call with intimate words and kissing sounds. The water stopped running. Sarah returned to bed. Within minutes, her breathing became deep and regular. She fell asleep, easily dreaming about my murder and her financial windfall. I sat in darkness, headphones still on, processing what I had just heard. My hands shook. My jaw clenched so hard my teeth ached. But underneath the shock and betrayal, something colder took over. The operator part of my brain activated, the part trained to function under extreme stress. I allowed myself exactly 5 minutes to feel everything. The pain of her betrayal, the rage at being played for a fool, the heartbreak of realizing our entire marriage was a lie. Then I locked it all away in the compartment where I kept every terrible thing from my past. Time to remember who I really was. I enlisted in the Marines at 18, made it through Scout Sniper School at 20, deployed twice to Iraq and once to Afghanistan. I had confirmed kills I would never discuss with anyone. The agency recruited me at 26 for their Special Activities Center. Not the analytical side, not the diplomatic side, the direct action side. For 6 years, I conducted operations that would never appear in any public record. Black sites, counterterrorism, surgical strikes. I could speak 3 languages fluently, handle any weapon system, plan infiltrations and extractions, resist interrogation, survive in hostile territory with zero support. I had killed 37 people during my career. Every face haunted my sleep. That was exactly why I wanted out, why I craved normal civilian life, why I let Sarah believe I was just another government security contractor. But she made one fatal miscalculation. She assumed that ordinary consultant story was the whole truth. She had no idea she just declared war on someone who fought actual wars for a living. I stood and walked to my closet. Behind a false panel, I installed myself a safe, held my operational kit. Passports under 3 different names, currency in 5 denominations, weapons I maintain monthly, tactical gear that still fit. I pulled out my encrypted phone. Technically, I was on inactive status. Practically, my contacts remained solid. Within an hour, I had information on Marcus Doyle, former private military contractor who went independent 5 years ago, ran a crew specializing in discrete solutions for wealthy clients. His 10-man team were all former special forces, competent and professional, but overconfident. They expected a soft civilian target, not someone who spent years hunting people far more dangerous than them. I spent the next 20 hours in pure mission planning mode, studied Marcus and his team, analyzed their known tactics, accessed blueprints of my own home, and identified defensive positions, moved weapons into strategic locations, suppressed pistol in the kitchen drawer behind the dish towels, shotgun under the living room couch, rifle in the bedroom closet. I set up additional surveillance covering every approach, called one person I still trusted completely. James had been Delta Force before going private security. We served together in Syria. He agreed to stage 3 blocks away, as backup. I told Sarah I had a last-minute conference call and would be working late in my office. She kissed me goodbye with perfect concern on her beautiful face. "Be safe, honey. I will miss you tonight." Her acting was truly flawless. I almost admired the skill. That afternoon, I tracked her car to Baltimore, except she stopped halfway at a hotel in Laurel. My surveillance showed her meeting Marcus. They reviewed final plans in his room, confirmed timing, celebrated early with champagne. I watched it all through hacked hotel security cameras. At 11 that evening, I returned home, left one light on in my office visible through the front window, made it look like I was working late, completely unaware. Actually, I wore body armor under a loose shirt, night vision goggles ready, weapons positioned, every sense heightened to combat alertness. I sent James one text message: "Game time, 3 a.m. Come if you hear shooting." Then I settled into a defensive position and waited.